with the narrative that you're changing. Pretty much with this stuff you saying that was rather negative or abusive or something that's telling that you can't do something, almost giving you a limiting mentality. But you had a strength and a mental strength to say, you know what, I'm going to prove you wrong, and you brushed it off. How were you able? You said, were you able to channeling it through hockey? How were you channeling that? Do you think, in the sense of people can't brush it off like people weren't brushing it off like you in this world right now, that come from these same backgrounds, and they couldn't get to as successful as you because they couldn't brush it off.
Well, here's the deal. I look at someone and say, if they can do it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing hockey in the Spectrum in Philadelphia when I was 12 years old. I went headfirst into the boards, couldn't move my neck. I went home, and our family friend came over who was a chiropractor, adjusted me, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a chiropractor. And it was pretty much as simple as that.
That's so cool.
When I saw Brian Tracy get up on stage in front of thousands of people in a success, program, I said, that's what I want to do. And Brian Tracy is the top testimonial on the back of my new book, The Solutions-Oriented Leader, and a good friend of mine now. So, you can really achieve anything that you want. And it's not what happens to you. It's what you do with it that makes the big difference, because we all go through hard times, through failures, through deaths. I've been through every single one of those things. And, it's not what happens to you. It's what you do with it, and how you look at it. And that's why I wrote The Solutions-Oriented Leader, because anybody could pick out the problems, my children, anybody. But you don't get paid for picking out problems. You get paid for solutions and getting up there and looking down and seeing what we can do to help other people. And that's really kind of what it boils down to, and getting out of yourself,
And that's gold right there, because it allows the person to really just live the best life. That's what you're going for, right?
Right. It's not predetermined. I remember after my wife passed away, she had cancer for 8 out of the 10 years we were married. And the year after that, I always look at my horoscope from the New York Times on my birthday. That's the only day. Wow. And this horoscope is in my book, because it basically said that everything in life is up to you. It's your choice. What is it you want to do with your life? Get up and do it, and get started today. And it spoke to me as it should speak to everybody, because it really is a choice. And, once you're done with college and school, your parents aren't there to tell you what to do. You get to choose it. Now, if you allow other people to influence you, well, then that's your own situation.
Yeah. And, I really respect that, because, look, I try to take the approach for people who can't just brush it off like you, and tell them, listen, stop beating yourself up, because it's not serving you. Look, do what Dr. Rick Goodman did. He brushed it off. He just told you about 8 things that were pretty big things that are, I would say, very, dark or considered heavy in life. And you
talk about Pareto's principle, and it's the 80-20 rule. And 80% of the people are going to be great in your life, and 10%, maybe the crabgrass that grows on the earth, and another 10% you'll get rid of. And you know what? When you get rid of them, the another 10% is going to come in. And here's what happens. If I had 100 patients come in a day, and 99 said, you are the best, and 1 said, you're the worst doctor I've ever been to, you hurt me, I used to focus on that 1 person instead of the 99 people that said something good.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, and that person could have won the lottery, and they would complain about paying taxes. Someone licked all the red off their candy cane, kind of thing.
Wow.
So they'll never be happy. They're always focusing on doom and gloom, and we know people like that have the perpetual clouds over their head.
You take pride in seeing why they were unhappy, but 99 people are happy. You're doing something right.
Right, and the thing is, focus on what you can do and the people you can help. Your tribe. It's not everybody.
Yeah,
I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Yep.
I can't help everybody, but there's people that I specialize in working with leaders and CEOs and entrepreneurs that want to grow big businesses, because I've done all those. So that's the lane that I stay in. I know what my strengths are, and I focus on them. And then what I do is I put a team together that can do all the things I can't do. So, I always say, my kids will say, well, Dad, don't be that guy. And I say, no, I want to be that guy. And that guy is the person who's top of mind, the person who is the go-to person. So, if someone says, I'm flying down to Florida or Miami, and they'll say, oh, call Rick Goodman, he knows this. And if that person calls me, if I can help them, great. If not, I'm calling 5 of my friends, and they're going to be able to help and access. Because it's about transforming your thinking, optimizing your assets, and accelerating your connectivity. We got to think differently, and we have to think, what are our assets? Our assets are the technology we know, our friends, people, our associates. These are all assets to us. And then we have to accelerate our connectivity. We've got to accelerate how much we engage with people and the speed at which we do business, because people want things done quickly.
How would you say, I guess speeding it up, I usually like to hear every part of the life, but because you brought it up, how do you address that when it comes down to you're looking at what you need? Meaning, for example, you said technology. Like, how do you address which technology you need? Like, when you say we have access to these things, how does someone attack those things? They might know what to do, but how to do it.
Well, I don't think you have to know the how all the time.
True.
And again, that's about putting a team together. I just had a conversation with a big construction company, and the CEO called me up, and she was just distressed about so many things. And I said, listen, the first thing you have to do is slow down to speed up. We eat the elephant one bite at a time. So let's look at what is the first issue that we have to attack. And the first issue is organization of the website. Everything else will fall into place after that, marketing, stuff like that. But let's just look at doing the first step, then the second step, then the third step. Most people were so used to multitasking, and it doesn't work. You just get a lot of little things not done. It's easier to focus on 2 to 3 things a day, and that's it. Then you've accomplished your goals. Most people don't get, if they have a to-do list, they never get anything done. It makes them feel bad about themselves. So 3 things, your top 3 priorities a day will make you massively successful.
Wow.
If you improve 1% a day in 365 days, you're 365% better.
Ooh, I like that one.
Who wouldn't give you all their money to invest if you can show 365% return? And you know what? If you do something each day, something to improve yourself, something little, it doesn't have to be big, you're going to break it down and start to see that you've achieved your goals.
So you would say you're a big believer in consistency.
I will take persistence and consistency over talent any day of the week.
Okay.
Because so many people stop short of success and never know. And I was driving down one day, I was giving a seminar in Virginia. And if you've ever been in Virginia, the roads are so long and the exits are so far away. And I got a phone call from a friend of mine from high school that my best friend and his dad's best friend went out on a boat on Jones Beach Inlet in Long Island, and the wave hit the side of the boat, and my best friend and his dad's best friend went over the side of the boat and drowned. Well, as he told me this story, I was so shocked because I'd seen him a week before. I thought that was my exit, and I got off the exit. Well, I started to turn around, realizing I got off the wrong exit, and I drove back in the other direction 45 minutes, and then I realized I was going the wrong way again. I turned around, and I went all the way back, and what I recognized, I stopped 100 yards short of my exit. But it took me all the way out. But I thought of it as a metaphor that how many of us stop just short of success, and we don't know because we quit. We gave up. We weren't consistent. We didn't move forward. It's no different than down here in Florida. I see people when we have torrential rains, and they pull the side of the road. I keep going because you know what? 100 yards later, it may not be raining, because down here, it could rain on one side of the road, not the other. But again, it's that metaphor that you got to keep moving forward, because what other choice do you have?
What other choice do you have? Really, really, what other choice do you have? And it's funny you say that. It resonates with me, so I appreciate it, is I was someone who chose to, I'm going to sit down and not go forward. And I'll be the first one to admit, it does not help you. It would only make you not enjoy life and what it has to bring. The life is a journey, and you got to keep going forward no matter what. It leads me to knowing about more of your journey, Rick. If I really want to understand. I know you became a big-time chiropractor, then you got into the professional leagues with it. I'm curious about that journey when you became a chiropractor after your first adjustment when you wanted to become one.
Well, it's kind of interesting because when I went to chiropractic school, I went to Logan in St. Louis, but before I even went there, I went to a a convention with my cousin. I worked in my cousin's office because I want to learn the business, because most people don't know the business and they don't teach you business. They teach you how to treat patients. So I worked in his office in Queens, and we went to this college called Life College, and they had this DE convention, which was all about, business and making money. And people there actually thought I was a doctor at that point. And I was actually kind of knowing how to adjust people even before I went to school.
That's cool.
And when I went to school, as everybody was just learning and wanting to get A's, I recognized that the most important thing was how to run a business. So I
Wow.
built my practice while I was in school.
Mhm.
And then I went and worked for two of the top doctors. And I said, I'll be your slave. You don't pay me a penny. I just want to sit here and learn, because I want to hear how they communicated with their patients, what they said, how they did all these things, again, that they didn't teach you in school. So the day before I graduated, I had already purchased a practice, and I already had made my first $100 deductible in my pocket in 1988. The day before I even got my diploma, I had that someone deductible in my pocket, and I drove to Jefferson City and picked up my diploma. So it probably wasn't too kosher at the time, but I was in practice the day after I graduated, and all the rest of my class was figuring out what they wanted to be when they grew up.